Hello, welcome to Left in the South, episode 23. What is up, Caleb, my good friend?
I'm doing great. Well, I mean, I'm okay, but the world's kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, for real, dude. It's a beautiful, what, is it Saturday today?
I
Saturday
have no
morning.
concept of time, David, you silly boy.
Saturday
But all I
morning.
know is I'm sitting here with my Dr. Seuss mug full of black tea, and I'm sitting here with my black friend, ready to enjoy a nice day.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm ready to fucking go, dude. So, I just want to say, we actually launched a website for the podcast. You go to leftinthesouth.net. You can find our website, and we just have, our episodes up there, and might make any important announcements by put it up there. If we ever get shut down on all the platforms, we'll be there.
Yeah, when the dark money pedophile Hollywood ring comes for us, you know where to find us. What's the website?
Yeah, leftinthesouth.net.
Leftinthesouth.net, baby. You can also find all information, very insider information there about us.
For sure.
And if you want to make your own website just like that, make sure to use code. Actually, we don't have anything like that. We should though. What the fuck?
Man. We don't, not yet.
Yeah,
but
why
fucking not? Just you wait, dude. Audible's coming, man. Jeff Bezos
sponsor us.
This is coming. But yeah, other than that, subscribe on if you're listening on YouTube. Rate on Apple Podcasts. Anything helps. Please and thank you. And but yeah, other than that, dude. Before we get into what's been fucking going on in the past week, dude, what you been watching, dude?
What have I been watching?
Yeah,
okay,
dude.
well, I've actually been reliving my childhood right now
Really?
because I've been watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, man. Did you watch that when you were a kid? We're almost the same age, so
yeah, that was my childhood.
I distinctly remember where I was on the last episode of the entire series, the final episode where he faces the Fire Lord. Okay, and I was in New York City, and I was on the phone with my cousin talking.
Wait, what year was it?
I don't remember what year it was, but I was in New York City and we were watching it, and I remember that there was a time zone difference, so I had to stay up past my bedtime to watch it, and I felt like a gangster. So yeah, I've been reliving that. Wow. It's so good, man.
That's crazy.
There's some like children's shows that are so good, even for adults, and that's one of them.
Adventure Time, Steven Universe.
Yeah, allegedly.
Dude, I mean, they're fucking.
I've never seen it. All right, I'm not gonna talk shit about it.
When I was younger, like watching this, I didn't really thought the Avatar was that good, and like whenever I saw it on Nickelodeon, I'm like, yeah, change the fucking channel. I don't want to watch this shit.
These baby cartoons.
But like, I'm pretty sure at some point I'm like, wait, this show's fucking good. And I think that was in like the third book or something like that. I don't know, like the third chapter.
It really picks up after the second and third book. I recommend everyone watch it. It's on Netflix now.
Yeah,
if you didn't get to watch it as a kid.
All 4 books.
Yeah.
And Community. They also released recently on Netflix, which I've been watching a shit ton of.
I heard that you identify with Abed. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. Finally, some like brown representation in
seriously,
in media.
Man. And, I wasn't even talking about. I wasn't even talking about that. I was just talking about his general demeanor and everything.
Being autistic.
Is he autistic? I didn't know. I haven't seen that far. I mean, he just acts like weird. I don't know.
I mean, they never say he's autistic, but like,
maybe it's implied.
I mean, in the first episode, he calls Abed he has Asperger's. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny, dude. Abed's such a funny character because I feel like they actually do a good job like highlighting the funniness of having like Asperger's or autism or whatever without bullying him. Like
for sure.
It's actually funny because it is funny in real life. Like anyone who tries to tell you it's not funny, they're lying.
It's good because the show like tackles these like issues that were like that are present at the time, like the opioid epidemic. I might be like spoiling this shit for you, but they like they had like the opioid epidemic, and like Pierce was like related to that because like he hurt himself in an episode, and that carries on through multiple episodes. Like you see like Pierce like breaking down into like becoming like more like an asshole, and they're like blaming it because that's Pierce and he's a racist asshole, but like he's going through this he's addicted to these painkillers.
Yeah,
and it's intense.
It really makes me realize that like pretty much everything Dan Harmon touches, I'm kind of in love with. You know,
Yeah,
like
for real.
I've started to realize that. Like every
he
time I
could take
watch
a shit on
something,
a piece of plate, and I'd probably look it up.
yeah, because every time I watch something and I'm like, wow, that was good, and then I see his name in the credits, I'm like, oh, okay,
Makes sense.
yeah.
He's fucking Midas, bro.
Yeah, I don't know how involved he is in it, but he just seems to be on a lot of really good shit.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, also I was in the hospital Monday.
Oh yeah, you almost died. I kind of forgot. So much shit has been popping up that I kind of forgot that happened.
I mean, that was like a fucking like 1 day issue. So like what happened was I was like chilling playing Hearthstone, and then all of a sudden like my fucking like heart was beating fast, and I thought I was having like a panic attack or something like that, right? And I was like freaking out that my heart rate wouldn't slow down. So I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm about to die. Like I feel like I need to go to the hospital right now. So I told my dad to take me to the hospital and went to the hospital. And, you know, Corona's going on obviously right now. So like, you're like, yeah, you can't like be with him. And like you guys, like my parents basically couldn't be with me as I was like, you know, trying to get into the hospital to get this shit
checked out. Oh, really? I didn't hear
about
that part.
They were like really freaking out, and like my dad like called me while I was like waiting to get like seen. And like I can hear like in his voice that he's like, you know, like trying not to tear up. Like I was like, fuck. And I'm like I knew I was like fine, like I wasn't gonna die or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. But
like
that's
I was
so
just
scary,
like freaking out, yeah. And they said I had a fever, so like they treated me as if I had corona. You know, they were like talking me through like my phone. They're like, hey, give me your number so we can like talk to you like out from outside and shit like that. Yeah. And they're like asking me if I'm sure. Like, I don't fucking know, like, cause I really don't. Like, I've never been to like the hospital in like fucking years.
Really? Wow. So yeah, wait, so they asked you to give your number. So have they gotten in touch with you? I didn't hear about this part either.
So like when I was in the hospital, like they were like, all right, give me your phone number so we can like talk to you from the outside and like just ask you some questions and shit about like basically trying to charge me for the fucking hospital.
Have they called you?
No, I've not received a call or email yet. I'm still waiting for my results. So for all I know, I still might have corona. So
that's crazy. I mean, like,
I know
if you
I don't have
it,
corona. I mean, probably don't have it because like the only time I go outside is to fucking work. But I mean, it would be very unlucky if I got it, considering I don't think there's any cases in my county.
Right. I mean, and also like, if you have it and that's what it was, then you've already recovered. So like, it may like you may have already had it and just didn't know.
So I haven't been working for the past week, so I've just been binging. Community. Yeah, but I'm feeling better now. Thank God.
Jobless life. Yeah. I was really worried because I woke up and saw like I like, basically
sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, "Holy shit! My podcast co-host died. Like, what the fuck happened?" And then like
I have a picture of myself that I took in the hospital. Was considering it posting on Patreon.
For that sweet empathy money, man.
Hell yeah,
that's genius. Dude. We should do that. Well, I'm sure everyone. I speak for all of our fans when I say we're glad you made it.
You know, I probably died in another like world or something.
Yeah, in an alternate universe.
Honestly, I thought I died, and like now I'm like living in this fucking hellscape of the United States that we're currently in right now.
Now we're in your nightmare. Except this is actually our dream.
I mean, now that we're we got all that shit out, we can finally get into this shit. So I mean, let's talk about where it all really started, right? George Floyd.
Okay, so George Floyd, basically after his death, everything fucking popped off, and like within 3 days, like there've been riots all over the country. Minnesota, especially Minneapolis, like everything's fucking burning. I saw like over 100 buildings were destroyed, including like the police precinct where the police like have all their equipment and shit. I don't know exactly what it's called in other places, but yeah, like precinct, whatever. And like it's just insane. Things are going up. Oh, and by the way, did you see today the White House was shut down because of protests outside on the White House lawn? That's
fucking epic.
Yeah, so like things are popping off.
Yeah, before we get into that, I just want to like break this shit down. I was talking to one of our friends named Matt earlier about this. Have you heard of warrior policing?
I have not.
Or
what
warrior
is warrior
style training?
Explain it. What is it?
Yeah, so this warrior style training basically takes like a fear-based approach to policing that prioritizes the police officer's safety over the community safety. So basically, like, they're training these police officers to go into these situations, expect, like, I gotta save myself first before, like, anything else. So, like, that's why, like, you see people, like, the cops are reacting before anything happens, right?
Right, yeah, like
basically.
preemptively striking and like
Yeah.
taking people down.
And that's why, you see people like, oh, I thought he was reaching for a gun and I shot him and I killed him. Shit like that, right? It's one of the many problems with the police force, right? And warrior style training was used when George Floyd was killed, right? The knee on that neck, that's warrior style training.
Okay, I get it. So you're saying like this warrior style training is kind of like in the case of George Floyd, he's putting his knee on his neck to just totally eliminate any potential threat, even if he doesn't necessarily know if George Floyd is a criminal or if he wants to hurt anyone. He's just doing it preemptively to protect himself from any potential danger. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. And
wow.
Police officers, they're witnessing this, and yes, they're horrible cops for allowing this to happen, but this is how they're trained, right? This is normal. It's totally fucked up, but like people got to realize like the problem with our police force is that they're being trained to like handle this shit the wrong fucking way. And like we got to target, the shit at the source and not like just eliminate these few bad apples. We need to fucking like cut down the whole tree.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think David is hitting it on the head right now because like what you're saying is not, and like a lot of people misconstrue this because I think a lot of people would say to you like, oh, it sounds like you're excusing this behavior by saying he's just being trained, like he's being trained to do that, he's just following orders. But actually what we're saying is we need to change the orders that they're getting. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
and
the very protocol that they choose to use is wrong.
And what's the most ridiculous thing is actually Minneapolis banned warrior training a whole year ago in 2019. But the police union is still offering warrior training classes like for police officers to take. Man. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, like off the book stuff. They're like, yeah, okay, we don't officially offer it, but if you want to take an extracurricular, you can come down here for the warrior training.
Yeah, and it's insane that it's still being offered despite this being the worst way to fucking handle policing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it's a markedly worse way because just statistically speaking, like when police use force, it increases violence, increases unnecessary deaths, and we know this because
right now people are dying and protesting and rioting.
Exactly. Look around you to see examples, and then if you want examples of having it done right, just look at other countries that do policing in different ways than us, using less violent methods of policing. Unarmed police officers that are just normally patrolling the streets. And they see far fewer incidents of police shootings and violence from the police, and violent crime in general actually falls. So, and any of this, like, I'm just stating things I know to be true, but you can find research about this online without any problems at all on your own. I believe in you.
Yeah, for real. It's really unfortunate what happened, but, at least Devin was arrested and charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter.
Right. So this guy, Devin, what's his name? Chauvin or something?
Devin, like Chauvin.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's like been thrusted into the national stage right now. Yeah. And did you see that his wife left him?
Yeah, for real. I mean, like,
can you blame her though?
Like it's really hard. Like, it's a pretty good PR move.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To leave her husband.
Can you imagine being married to first of all, I feel like
the most hated man in America at the moment.
Seriously, like poor woman. Like I'm sure, like she's a cop too, so I'm sure I probably can find my own problems with her too. But like, just imagine like your husband coming home one day and being like, "Yeah, I fucking like someone died. Like it sucks." And then a couple days later, you hear about it on the news, and you're like sweating.
Yeah, I have some theories about what happened between George Floyd and the officer that killed him. There's some more, but I'm gonna say it for later, after we cover all this shit.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk more about the situation. So, like, why were the cops there? Do you know about that?
I really don't fucking know.
I heard that they were there for forgery. Like, forgery? Apparently that someone accused George Floyd of paying with a fake $20 bill. I've heard this. I don't know if it's true. I'm just talking out of my ass right now. But that's what I heard. I heard that the original call was about forgery.
Fucking crazy.
And it ended with his death, which is very interesting because generally forgery is not a violent crime. But that's just my opinion. I guess you could see it another way.
They're trying to get him for being in he was George Floyd was intoxicated.
Yeah. I saw that too. The county commissioner or whatever released the autopsy results or whatever said that his injuries were not consistent with what we'd expect for someone who was. It's literally for someone who's asphyxiated. It's literally the fucking Jeffrey Epstein defense. You know, he's saying like, oh, we don't, according to our like research, we don't believe that he was, you know, he died from asphyxiation or died from his injuries, basically. And they're saying that he had a history of heart disease and like other stuff, and he may have been intoxicated at the time. And they're saying that all of those things may have led to his death. And it's like, well, okay, maybe that's true. Maybe let's say that it's true. Let's say that he has underlying heart
coroner's
condition.
report, right? Like, I don't think anything's like concrete and like
exactly. Yeah, and like let's give all of that to them. Would he have died with all those things being true? Would he have died if the guy had not done that? Because if so, I feel like it's still murder. It doesn't matter if you have fucking one arm or have fucking sickle cell anemia. Like if you get your fucking neck kneeled on, you're gonna die from that regardless. You know,
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
And like cops during these protests aren't learning at all. Like they're still doing illegal chokeholds. They're still treating like everything that's going on. This shit's like handled so fucking goddamn poorly. Like I want to get more into that, but you know I just want to like let's cover this, you know, as it happened, right? Okay, so and then large protest and like well there was peaceful protests at the beginning, and then there was instigators that may have started the riot, and people are theorizing, or it may even be confirmed now, that like the police started this shit in Minneapolis.
I have heard that rumor, and again, we don't necessarily know if this is true, so just to be like crystal clear, and you know, we're not trying to mislead you guys, so just so you know, this is not confirmed or anything.
Yeah,
but I have
always
also
do your
heard
own
that
research as well.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you know, maybe in 2 weeks it'll turn out that we were wrong about this, or maybe we'll be right. We don't necessarily know. But we've both heard the same thing, that there are like undercover, quote unquote, police officers that are instigating, you know, riots. Kind of like, you know, to use the meme example, like, you know, in Hong Kong a couple of months ago, God, it feels like a fucking eternity ago that this was happening. But they were being accused of using fake police protesters and like being violent to instigate, to make it seem like the rioters were violent when they really weren't. People are accusing the United States police of doing the same thing right now. So again, that's not necessarily confirmed, but some people have said that there's evidence of it. And I've seen tweets where basically one guy like smashes a window. There's video of it. So he's wearing a gas mask, and people are saying like, oh, that's police gear. And, you know, I'm not a fucking gas mask expert, but I have seen evidence of that I feel like is convincing. And I also saw this other picture where basically his ex-wife tweeted and said, yeah, this is my ex-husband. And that's like actually my gear, because we met each other like on whatever fucking SWAT force or whatever fucking bullshit fast shit they were in. But anyway, like, so, you know, there's a chance that some of these protesters who are inciting violence and destroying property are actually not necessarily doing it for the right reasons.
I just don't understand like why they would do this. So like, what are they like? They do this, they incite some violence, and they're like, all right, boys, let's get the fucking paddy wagon, let's get these fucking protesters out here. I mean, is that like what they're trying to do?
Exactly. And also, it's like, even though contrary to popular belief, a lot of people don't like it when we destroy property. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of normies out there that actually, whenever like people go and riot and burn down buildings, they get really upset, and they're like, yeah, maybe I agree with the message, but why are you guys burning these things down? They don't necessarily see it as justified. By doing this, the police can, on one hand, use it as justification to use more violence, use more force to shut down these protests, and on the other hand, to gain public support in doing so, because they're more likely to, like, other people are more likely to turn a blind eye to police misuse of force and violence if they agree with why they're doing it. You know what I mean? Everyone has their biases.
They're trying to get that Reddit support.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately that works, because a lot of people don't see this form of like protest, destroying property, because that's what it is. It is protesting. Just because it's destroying property doesn't make it any less of a protest. Some people don't see that as a legitimate form of protest. So unfortunately they lose a lot of support in that way by doing that.
I mean, let's get into it. What do you think about like these riots, and like people are saying like, you know, there's a lot of fucking libs going on. It's like, you know, I agree with the message, but you know, you guys don't need to burn down these buildings. Like, you know, all this violence is unnecessary. What do you think?
Like, I completely disagree. I think that the violence is 100% justified. I think that it's not only justified, but I think
they should have saw this coming.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's expected. And I think that like this is literally the culmination of hundreds of years and multiple generations of class warfare. Yeah, systematic warfare, class warfare, or systematic racism, class warfare. Like, this is the culmination of all these things that they have been holding down on us, the workers, but specifically also Black people.
And it's happening all over the nation. Like, we are fucking mad and we're upset.
It was never more clear than during the riots in Minneapolis that this has become a racialized issue as well. We were watching a live stream called Unicorn Riot at the time of when the rioting was going on. And there were several people that came up on the stream and basically they would give their opinion and stuff. And most people, of course, agreed with everything that was going on. And there were several people that were blatantly saying things like, this is a revolution. This is a Black Power movement. This is this system is mistreating us. Things like, socialist fucking talking points that we literally talk about on this podcast all the time. Even normies are coming to the conclusion.
Yeah, and it's really, it really puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, absolutely.
This shit's really surreal and outrage and people being so upset with the system than today. And you're living in this moment right now.
100% agree. And I think that we're going to talk about this a little more later too, but we actually interviewed someone who was there at the scene of the riot. And you guys will probably get to hear that at the end of the episode. And he said that his mom was saying that this is the worst rioting she's seen since Rodney King. And I think that actually is a great comparison because, I wasn't personally alive, but I've done a lot of research about this event. And it reminds me this event that's going on now reminds me so much of that. I don't know. It's interesting that we're kind of running into the same thing where people are racializing this thing and making it about the Black Lives Matter movement right now. I think it really shows you that the kind of real conflict in this country is coming down to race and class rather than whatever. Just because this guy died from the police, that's one thing, but that's not necessarily what's causing this entire movement. People are out there because that happened, but it's they're out there for a million other reasons too. That's just the most the straw that broke the camel's back that started it all.
Yeah, and one thing I want to get into as well is all lives matter, this shit. If you believe in all lives matter or even support it or even spout this fucking diarrhea through your mouth, if you believe in all lives matter, you're totally disregarding the whole meaning of Black Lives Matter.
100%.
It's just super disrespectful. I can't believe people don't even notice what they're doing. It's black people are fucking dying on the streets. They are being targeted by the police.
White people don't know how to be the victims of something without coming out on top. And what I mean by that is when you say Black Lives Matter, white people take it as well, I mean, yeah, of course Black Lives Matter, but what about white lives? I think all lives matter. It's they have to be included. It's I don't understand. Can you not understand this is not about you? This is not an attack on white people.
Yeah.
It's a plea for fucking help. A plea for understanding that the lives of Black people are just as important and they live just as vivid and important lives as we do. You know what I mean?
Mm.
A lot of people don't think about that. I don't understand. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear how you feel about it though. What do you think? Do you agree with the Black Lives Matter movement? What do you think about that movement in general? And what do you think about the All Lives Matter movement?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Black Lives Matter movement. It's the movement means more the title of what the movement's called doesn't matter, right?
Right.
It was probably the wrong title for the movement, but we understand what this movement's about, It's the injustice of minorities.
Yeah, exactly. And the All Lives Matter movement doesn't understand that, and it's not a real movement.
It's literally just
right. It's diarrhea,
racism and bigotry. But with this interview with the protester, that was fucking interesting. We never done that before. I was a little nervous, but I think we did fucking good on that interview. We should be playing it at the end of this podcast. If you want to listen to it right now, though, it should be on YouTube and SoundCloud.
Yeah, that was great. And, that was our first opportunity to have someone else on the podcast, especially an interview. And, it was awesome. So I hope that we can do that again. I think it turned out so well.
And we do have another one planned. We're going to talk to one of my good friends. His name is Dinosaurs. Name is Matt. He also has his own podcast called The Secret Podcast. Cool guy.
Yeah.
And
go check him out.
He's from Richmond, Virginia, and there was shit going down yesterday as well. And he was recording it and out there in Richmond. So it was pretty cool to see his perspective on Twitter.
Awesome. Go check him out. Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And
friends of the pod.
I want to talk about CNN now. That news reporter,
Yamar
Jimenez, right?
Yeah, Omar Jimenez. Yeah,
he got arrested live on CNN, which
that
I
was
think
so crazy.
it was so fucking funny. And they ran that shit all fucking day. Like, they're like, oh, yes, I can't believe this happened. You know, like, the fucking CNN, like, CEO is, like, rubbing his hands. He's like, fuck, yeah.
All those juicy content, baby.
And then the fucking headquarters also got raided the same day. Or they were riding over there same day in Atlanta.
Yeah, feels bad on that one. But, gosh, yeah, that was crazy. We were watching it, actually. Like, we heard that the guy got arrested, and we were still up because we were all fucking, like, our eyes were glued to the fucking screens. Yeah. And like we were literally watching a live stream of the CNN camera in the trunk of a fucking police car, or in the trunk, sorry, of a police car, being taken to the jail. And the governor himself personally apologized to CNN and said basically like, I failed you. We're so sorry. And then they had worst part, dude. They had another reporter there, a white reporter, 2 blocks away. He recorded no problem at all. Never faced any resistance whatsoever. But of course, Omar Jimenez is not allowed to fucking get away with it.
I think what's fucking hilarious is that he got out of custody in less than an hour. And this guy yesterday is just now getting arrested.
That CNN reporter, or CNN strong, bro. They strong.
Yeah, he's like the CNN. They were like live from. Yeah, we got our CEO on the fucking phone. He's texting them right. They're texting right fucking now to each other. It's like
that's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. Like the reason why the protesters were targeting CNN was not because they're like right wing and fucking hate liberal media, but is because like there's a precinct inside of the CNN headquarters.
Yeah, that's why they rioted and kind of like destroyed the building. Because there was police headquarters.
You're gonna see this in the upcoming days. The media, fucking right wing media, Fox News or wherever, they're gonna try to flip this shit and make these protesters seem like they're thugs and that they're criminals and like they're ill will and they're only doing this because they want to cause havoc and but it's totally wrong. Like shit is necessary.
Yeah, and speaking of thugs, let's talk about our Donnie Cheeto boy in chief.
Yeah, for real.
So for the first time ever, Twitter has censored the president of the United States. And yeah, why don't you go ahead and take us away? What do you want to talk about? What tweet he made? Here, I found it actually. I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's okay. So first of all, on the tweet, if you click on it, it says this tweet violated the Twitter rules about glorifying violence. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public's interest for the tweet to remain accessible. He made this tweet on the 29th of May saying, "These thugs, all caps, are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we'll assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you."
Like, I just can't believe like the blatant racist whistle blowing right now that's going on right now by our goddamn fucking president.
Yeah. I want you to okay, if you're just a normal person, everyday person, every time you hear someone say the word thug, in your mind, I want you to just replace it with the N-word and just live your life normally and see how well it works, because that's literally what it is. I don't know if I need to explain this or spell it out for anyone because it's probably just obvious at this point. But whenever these white fucking conservatives say the word thug, they are talking about black people or brown people.
Yeah, and
they're dehumanizing them, and it's insane. I cannot believe that he gets away with it.
Yeah, I want to just explain this to everyone who might not know, but we might use the term whistleblowing or dog whistle in future episodes, or you might hear this term and you might not know what it means. Basically, what it is, it's people who are right wing or far left. You can be either or, just extremists in general, trying to hide their secret messages that are basically preluding to racism, or basically to show hey, by the way, I support racism, low key, and I'm letting everyone know right now.
Right. Yeah, it's a very common thing. If you've ever on Twitter, if you're a Twitter user, a really common one is the triple parentheses, for example. Someone will put 3 parentheses around a word, and what that means is it implies that it has something to do with Jews. Like, if you've ever seen that and you're like, why the fuck are there 3 parentheses? Yeah, that's actually a racist anti-Jew dog whistle. So that's interesting. I recently learned that because apparently I'm just too. Yeah, apparently I'm too innocent to know the kind of fucking racist dog whistles that people are doing these days.
I think I've seen it before though. I think I've seen it before. Yeah, but another dog whistling is what was it? Friend World on Reddit. That was a thing a while ago.
Yeah, so people. Yeah, I mean, people will create like memes. Like, if you ever heard like the 13% thing, that's like a racist dog whistle against black people about how they commit crime too much. Like, there's plenty of examples of like just memes basically that people don't think are dangerous, but they're actually talking about a more serious problem. And that's really what the president is doing by tweeting this. Like, he's saying to basically like the police, saying like he's giving them support to use whatever kind of force they want to use. Like saying, yeah, you have the president's support to fucking gun down people, basically, these thugs, these minorities, these black people. Like, yeah, it's fucked up. And it is a dog whistle. And I like, do you think that Twitter should have taken it down, by the way, or do you think they're
no,
right?
I think it's good that I think it's good that they'll put it up there so people can see how much of a bigot our president is.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, and like I also want to talk about this Twitter thing. Did you hear that Donald Trump started? He signed an executive order, basically like hurting like the regulation of social media websites. Have you heard about that?
No, is this new?
Yeah, this is in response to Twitter putting that thing, like the COVID information, under one of his tweets because he like lied about COVID or whatever, or the the drug that he supposedly says.
They have a whole council for Donald Trump's Twitter account.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And like, so he signed an executive order in response to that, basically hurting regulation on social media by doing this thing where there's this law. I'm trying to like explain this in a simple way without also like fucking it up. So like there's this law basically where social media, really any website, like let's say I go on Reddit and I post child porn, right? Yep. Like Reddit is not going to get shut down because I posted child porn because it's technically me that's posting it. Reddit is just hosting it. So like even though there's child porn on Reddit servers, they're still technically not committing a crime because they didn't know and I uploaded it. So it's still my crime that's doing it. So Donald Trump's executive order is attempting to get rid of that protection for social media sites, basically saying that they can be like legally held responsible for things that people post on the websites. And I don't really understand what his logic behind it is. Well, it's an executive order, so it doesn't have to pass. He can just do it.
Oh my god! Wait, he just did it?
Yeah, and like I don't understand what his logic about this is because, like, if it were true that companies could be held legally responsible, actually, they would be forced to censor people far more than they do right now.
Okay, you guys can't post images anymore on Reddit.
Right. Or like every image has to be personally looked at because otherwise they'll never, like, if I post child porn on Reddit and they don't have this protection.
The thing is that costs too much money to do, so they're just gonna do the easiest thing and just turn off, like, you can't share images anymore.
Exactly. Like it's such a short-sighted and dumb thing to do. Like it could only have come from our president. So it's very funny that he had like a mental breakdown over that.
Yeah, for real, he's like, I'm gonna kill Twitter right now.
Yeah, Twitter, dude. His Twitter is his life. He loves that shit, man. Like he loves Twitter. That's all he does, dude. He tweets all the time. He's tweeted literally since we've started this podcast. He's tweeted twice. Like he's the president. You think he'd be more busy than that, but I don't know. I guess not. Anyway, executive time and all that.
The shit they're doing to, I mean, not only was Yamar targeted, but also you can see. I think there's another CNN reporter actually who was assaulted with not the rubber bullets, but the hot pepper balls.
Yeah. There's like I don't think that was CNN. That was some other reporting news station. But like, yeah, they literally filmed this riot cop just like unloading a fucking pepper spray
literally
gun.
Pointing
like,
this shit at the camera.
Yeah, fucking absurd, man. They're just unloading on people. It's insane. And like, meanwhile, by the way, like to keep this in kind of chronological order, like while this is going on, there's another thing unfolding in Louisville, Kentucky, where someone was murdered. And I think this was in Kentucky anyway. And like someone was murdered. I think her name was like Brianna or something.
Yeah, she was killed in her apartment, I believe.
Yeah, in a no-knock raid. And like, so there's been violent protests in Louisville as well, where I think that's where 7 people were shot by police because they were rioting there. So that's cool. So there was another racistly fueled police violence incident. What do you think about no-knock raids, David? I want to talk about this for a second.
I mean,
have you heard of this concept?
No, explain to me.
Okay, so like a no-knock raid is like a police raid is where a police would come up and they would knock on your door and be like, "We have a warrant. Please come out. Like, we're searching your apartment or we're arresting you or whatever." And then you would surrender, or you would, whatever. You're supposed to surrender, but, some people don't. But anyway, that's a raid. A no-knock raid is basically where they get the warrant from a judge, but they have permission to break into the home without announcing themselves and arrest you, like, on the spot, rather than knock and have you come surrender.
Or something like that.
Right, so like their racist justification for it is that basically if someone is a drug dealer, like if they knock on the door, they can flush all the evidence. And of course this is just a justification for them to violently break into people's homes and arrest them in their property, but that's their justification for it. So like Brianna was killed in a no-knock raid. She was shot because the police came in and shot her and then left. And like I didn't even know the full story about this, where she was killed by police and then they left, and then her boyfriend who was there called the police and said someone broke in and shot my girlfriend. He didn't even know that they were police because after shooting her, they left.
God,
it's literally
they didn't call the ambulance or anything.
Yes, it's just a break and enter murder, and then they fled the scene.
That's fucked, dude. That's so fucking fucked.
Unbelievable. And she was not even related to anything. She was just a totally innocent person that was murdered for no reason in a no-knock raid. Like, unbelievable.
No drugs found here, but we did kill
just
someone.
A dead-ass fucking person that we shot 26 times. Like, and like, of course, let's talk about no-knock raids a little bit. Like, the reason I don't agree with them is, first of all, because I think that no government agency, basically, unless you're like literally the most heinous fucking Hitler criminal that's literally like executing people in your home, should be able to just enter your home with no announcement, no fucking, like, of course they have a warrant in the case of no-knock raids, but like I don't agree with that. They shouldn't be able to just break in unless it's like the most heinous of situation, like a hostage situation, for example. Maybe then it would be okay. But like they're giving no-knock raids to people who are just doing suspected drug use or something like that. It will get a no-knock warrant. Like, that's absurd. And secondly, like, of course, if you break into someone's home, they're going to be flustered. They don't even announce that they're police. They don't say, "It's the police, put your hands up." They just break in with their guns already drawn, ready to shoot. What the fuck am I going to do if someone breaks my door down? Am I going to just calmly be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I surrender"? I have no idea who the fuck that is coming through the door. It could be anyone.
It literally couldn't. It might have been fucking a thug or a fucking
thug. Triple parentheses.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
Trying to raid your apartment.
Exactly. And so, like, of course, there have actually been several cases where people have gotten into gunfights with police where they don't even know that they're police because they're just exchanging gunfire with someone who broke into their house, basically. And then finally they surrender afterwards. I know there have been cases where there have been African-American people who have killed police officers in self-defense in no-knock raids and actually gotten away with it, surprisingly, because they used, like, for example, in Texas, they have a castle doctrine where you can just fire and kill people if they're in your property for any reason. So, like, yeah, people get away with it sometimes. So you're literally putting police lives in danger. You're putting innocent people's lives in danger. You're putting everyone's lives in danger to gain nothing. You know what I mean?
And
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and with the police fucking warrior style training, it doesn't fucking help that, that they're just probably gonna come in and kill someone.
Exactly. Like, I want you to understand this. Every time there's a no-knock raid, the police are going in with their guns out, like, ready to kill someone. Like, they are 100% expecting to walk in there and be in a gunfight. Like, they're not walking in there to negotiate with people and, like, make the community safer. Like, they're ready to kill when they enter the door. I don't understand how that is helping anyone be safer. Because, like, let's say that police raid did not happen. All that all that would mean is that everyone is actually more safe now because there's no police knocking on the door with guns out. Exactly.
And it's like the laziest way to police.
Yeah. It's the most fascist fucking police state way to just put people under your boot and make sure that they never do anything you don't agree with. Because you might break into their house and kill their girlfriend, you know what I mean? Like, It's the most absurd shit ever. So now you know what it is. What do you think about no-knock raids? Do you think that they're like good? Obviously, probably not, right?
I mean, I knew it. And I just wanted you to explain it. Yeah, I mean,
to our viewers. Yeah, I mean, there's very few scenarios I can imagine where I would say like, oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe like if someone's being held hostage, I can understand, maybe. But even then, like, there can be false reports. I don't know. Is it a good idea? I don't know. I'd have to see. Like,
you wouldn't even do that even if there was a hostage. Like, we already like there's standards for like hostage, negotiations and shit.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good point, because like what I'm saying is assuming that the police are even properly trained, but on top of that, they're not. So they bust in to your house. They break into your house with little to no training either, and a gun.
Yeah,
like they're ready to fucking shoot. Put 4 hot ones in you. Bah, bah.
I'm really like worried about like if their solution to this is like, oh, our police obviously isn't good enough. We're gonna have to like upgrade to like military
tanks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, New York City already has a fucking armored helicopter with a mounted machine gun on it in their police force.
Yeah, so they roll up in those fucking LMGs on the Humvees in Minneapolis.
Just imagine like being a cop and like sitting behind a mounted machine gun in your city, like in your home, like in your city. Like, what the fuck is going through your head in that moment?
Yeah, like, what are you gonna
holy
do?
Shit.
Gun everyone down?
Yeah, like where am I right now? Am I in fucking Fallujah in 2002? Like, where the fuck am I right now? It's so surreal. Like, when we were seeing those videos last night, the streams, like, I could not take my eyes away from the screen. Just seeing people, like, seeing the guy walk through Minneapolis, like, seeing buildings burn and people running around with gas masks.
Falling down.
Yeah. It was literally like a scene from, like, the Syrian Civil War.
Police cars on fire.
Yeah.
Fucking USPS cars on fire.
Yeah. They were stealing police cars. And, like, I watched the video of the police retreating away from the precinct as people stormed in. It was the most metal shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm not going to lie. I got a chubster off that one. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, it was definitely some, like, fucking life-changing shit to see. And, like, everyone, it's spread. It's, like, spreading through the nation.
Yeah.
Right now.
So like now that we've talked mostly about it, what do you think comes next? Like, what's your prediction for the future? Just to have it on the record.
I mean, like the guy we interviewed, he said this isn't gonna stop today, and it's gonna probably go on for weeks.
Like, do you think that? Because the guy got arrested, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't end at George Floyd. It's grown bigger than just protesting for his murder, right?
Right.
This is a bigger problem. It's a problem that's been brewing for 300 years.
Yeah.
And people want change. Like, this hopefully turns into the change we want, or either this turns into the change we want, or honestly, like, we start heading toward the fascist regime where we have police states and shit like that. I mean, you can already see that happening in Minneapolis, where they're just telling people to stay inside and they can't go outside, and if you go outside, you're gonna get arrested.
Exactly. Yep. And all they're doing is literally protesting. And like, of course I don't agree with like constitutionalism, but like, I love that these people jerk off over the Constitution, they're just so quick to violate it. You know what I mean? It really just shows you that.
I don't even know why we didn't have that shit.
I don't either. Fuck the Constitution.
Like, it's such an old piece of fucking paper from like they thought fucking witches were fucking real, dude, and like they were using
true, dude.
Like, weird aphrodisiacs and shit. Like,
yeah, they're literally like putting uranium up their ass to like make their cocks hard, and like they're literally jerking off over their fucking government. Like, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's like we should abolish that shit. Like, I'm sure we are knowledgeable now to know like slavery isn't good, and we probably shouldn't have it. And like,
you would think
I don't think we need a piece of paper to tell us that gay people fucking. Should be able to fucking marry,
Yeah, exactly, man. 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with David. Like, my prediction of the future, I hope it doesn't stop. I want to talk though. Like, do we, as a podcast, do you think that we support what's going on? Like, I want to ask you.
I mean, I support what's going on. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Like, do you want us? Like, I want us to preemptively defend this position because I feel like we have to. Like, the reason that I think I agree with it, and I don't want to speak for David, so I'll let you speak. But like, the reason that I agree with it is not because I like to see, cities burned down. I don't like to see people injured. I don't like to see people, going through hardship. But my hope is that what we come through on the other side will be worth the destruction.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that
I wish we could avoid this.
Yes, exactly. I feel like
we can't.
It has been forced upon us. Like, this is not a choice. This is something that we've been forced to do by the ruling class. Like, violent protests. I often hear this platitude thrown around. Like, anyone who makes non-violent protests impossible makes violent protests inevitable. Like, it's a platitude, but I feel like it's somewhat true in this case, because there are really no ways for us to peacefully protest and actually send a message to the people that can change.
Yeah, because they don't fucking care. Like,
yes.
Like, in this day and age, like, yes, like, peaceful protests, like, you may have some change, but, like, the only way we're gonna get any real change is, you know, doing this shit. I mean, and I wish there was another way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want my kids to enjoy a better life. I want to enjoy a better life. I want my kids to enjoy a better life, too. I'm tired of waiting, and I don't think anyone deserves to wait anymore. And, like, if it means that we have to do something violent, like, then that's just the cost that we have to pay to live in a better world, in my opinion.
And I feel like we're going to have, like, a whole another episode explaining why we believe this. Because, like, it's a whole, like, there's so many problems in the system that we really have to dissect to come to our conclusion. Yeah. But, you know, the short answer is, like, this is necessary, what's going on right now. If we want to see real change, like, we're not going to get police reform, you know, without cutting down the tree, right?
Yeah.
And getting rid of this shit and, like, you know, fixing this shit. Because, you know, I think at least, you know, cops aren't inherently evil. And that they're just being, you know, fucking, you know, the system is what's corrupting our comrades, really.
Go off, King. Preach. 100%. Yeah, we'll have to do that episode someday. That would be fun.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, we hate the police because we hate the 1%. And the police protect the 1%. So that's why we hate the police. Right.
Exactly. It's all connected in this web in our minds, and we do need to do an episode someday where we just make all those connections for everyone, just draw it out, you know, because it does get annoying to get strawmanned constantly. Like, people have no idea what we actually think. And
because like, it's bigger because people like to simplify issues with their small brain, and like the issue is way bigger than you think it is, and like, you have to talk about so many other things to, like, come to these greater conclusions that you actually do need to come to, and you can't accept these, like, you know, fuck the police because I think police are evil. You need to come to, like, why are they evil?
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah. And that is called materialism, friends.
Yeah, but some good news that I want to shed, you know, on all these bad news and Corona, and, like, oh god, I fucking worry about Corona too during these protests. You know, those Target goods that they were looted from the Target, air quotations, those are actually redistributed to the people who were protesting, and, like, they had a little spot and they gave out the shit. I thought that was fucking the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, that actually, like, made me a little bit emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like they were raiding this Target, and they set up, like, a little area where they just gave, like, people would come by and they would pick up, like, things that they need, like paper towels, water bottles, paper plates, shit like that. You know, like, stuff you get at Target. And, like, they just redistributed everything rather than destroy it all, or, like, just leave it or steal it or whatever. And,
or,
like it. That I felt like that was such a great
man
moment.
Is good.
Yeah, man is good.
Community, I fucking love it, man.
Yeah, that's great. That was a great reference, man. That was great.
We don't really know the future, but this isn't gonna end anytime soon. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna be talking about this again next week. I don't think it's gonna be even over by then, so we will see.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
So, I want to thank our Patreon pledgers, of course. At the end of the episode, we talk about, you know, we list the names of people who are pledged to our Patreon, right? Zach, Grunt980, and Zion, Payton, whichever he would like to go by. You know, we have 3 Patreons right now. If you're wondering how you can get into this exclusive Patreon club where we announce your name in the end of the episode, or the beginning if you pay $10 a month, big baller status, go to patreon.com/leftinthesouth. You know, you can pledge $1, and you'll make me extremely happy. And I will think about you at night.
I actually will, though.
Yeah, and with that was episode 23 of the Left in the South podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
That's a wrap.